How's it going, everybody? Welcome to today's stick mobility class. Thank you for joining me. I am Coach Ray. So for today's stick mobility class, we are going to be using 2 long sticks. Okay. Also, I have a squat rack here. This is going to act as a door frame for some of the rotation drills we're going to get into. We're also going to do some shoulder extension type of drill today. So we're going to work on quite a bit of shoulder mobility and stability here. Also have a pad for us to kneel on in the mobility warm-up phase of the drill today. Okay. So we are going to get started. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to grab only one stick here. Okay. So I'm going to take a horse stance. Okay. I'm going to have my feet out roughly about shoulder width apart. Okay. I'm actually going to turn from the side here. So we're going to warm up the feet and ankles first. Okay. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have the stick straight out in front. I'm going to grip at about sternum height, pick up the bottom of the stick, angle it in towards me, and I'm going to place it down. We're only using the stick for balance here, okay? So what we're going to do from here, I'm going to bring both heels up. I want to make sure I'm on all 5 toes. Notice the level of my hips did not change here, right? I'm going to bring both heels back down slow and controlled. Good. Once my heels touch the floor, I'm going to bring them back up. Want to keep that pelvis stacked under the spine. Okay? Bring it back down. Slow and controlled. Make sure you control your breathing. Bring your heels back up. Good. Back down. Let's do a few more here. Bring both heels up. Good. Back down. Let's go a couple more. Heels up. Good. Make sure you're breathing. Back down. And one last time. Heels up. Good. Back down. And relax for a second here. So now we're going to get into working with lateral tilts here. Okay. So what I want to do, I want to take a little bit of a staggered stance. So if you were to look from the side, my stance is going to be like so. Okay? And so from here, from the staggered stance, again, I want to be out relatively wide. I'm going to shift my weight to that front leg towards that direction. So I'm shifting my weight diagonally here. Now, the stick is going to be right in front or right in line with my big toe here. I want to keep it there, right? This is just to maintain that balance. And so what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to shift my weight towards that front leg here. So now I'm loaded. I'm going to bring that heel up off the floor. Okay. Now this back leg I want to keep straight. Okay. And I'm still using the stick for balance. What I'm going to do, I'm going to shift that heel inwards and I'm going to go to my big toe on that front leg. So my left leg is forward. I'm on a big left toe. Now I'm going to shift the ankle out. Okay. Now I'm going to be on my pinky toe. Then I'm going to shift the heel back in towards my center line. Okay. Now I'm going to shift out. Good. Shift in. Good. Out. Back to center. And down. Good. Come back up. Now we're going to switch sides. So we're not doing that many repetitions here because we can add a pretty significant amount of load here. If you want to add more load, you can drop your hips down a little bit more if you wanted to. Okay? So, same thing. The bottom of the stick is now on my big toe, on my right foot here. Okay, hand is roughly about shoulder height. I'm going to shift my weight towards that front leg. Back leg is straight here. Okay? Going to bring up my right heel. All 5 toes in contact with the floor right now. Then I'm going to shift that heel inwards towards my midline. So I'm going to be on my big toe. Okay, good. Now I'm going to shift outwards on my pinky toe. Good, shift in. Then out. One more time, shift in. Good, and out. Good, back to center and down. Excellent, good. So we're going to do something that's going to be a little bit different here. in particular for the actual tibia and fibia here. So we're going to work on rotating here, but we're going to trap the leg here, okay? So I'm actually going to use the squat rack, but if you have a wall, it'll be perfect for you to use. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stick, and I'm going to have my left foot out about roughly a foot from the wall. I'm going to take the stick, place it under my right knee, and I'm going to grip with my hands facing upwards towards the ceiling. Now, how high you have it doesn't really matter, but what does matter is that we're trapping that femur and to keep it from rotating. So what I'm going to do from here, keep my ankle dorsiflex, and I'm going to rotate my foot and ankle outwards. Now I'm going to rotate my foot and ankle inwards. Keep it dorsiflex, rotate it outwards. Good, rotate inwards. Rotate out. Rotate in. One more time. Rotate out. And rotate in. Good, back to center and down. We're going to switch sides. So I'll actually go so you can see me from the front now, okay? So again, the height that you have your leg does not matter much. What matters is, are we trapping that leg as we do this? So, foot is dorsiflexed, palms are up, okay? Adding a little bit of tension by pulling up. Now we're gonna start to rotate, so rotate outwards. Good, rotate inwards. Breathe, rotate outwards. Inwards. Good, out. In. Out. Good, in. Back to center and ease off. Good. So, again, just trying to focus on getting the tibia to move as much as we can, get as much rotation as we can without compensating from the femur or leg bone. So, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get into a full kneeling position, and we're going to work particularly on pelvic tilts. Now, if you have a wider pad, that's fine, okay? Or you're going to go straight on the floor. So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to use this as a guide of how far to keep my knees away from one another. So for me, this pad is actually going to have my knees roughly about shoulder width apart. That's where you want to be at here, okay? Now, what I want to do, and I'll turn to the side so you can see this. Now, from this position, my big toes are into the floor here. I don't want to be flat. Or I want to have my ankles dorsiflexed, okay? Now, the stick is going to be in line with my center line, okay, midline. His hands are roughly about shoulder height. Bottom of the stick is angled in towards me here, okay? I want to keep my spine tall. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to drive the stick down, and I'm going to do a posterior pelvic tuck and squeeze my glutes. Good. Now I'm going to do an anterior tilt. I'm going to tighten my lower back tissues here. Okay? Do a posterior tilt. Squeeze those glutes. Try to feel those glutes firing. You're driving those big toes into the floor. Now I'm going to do an anterior tilt. Feel those lower back tissues tighten. Remember to stay up tall here, okay? Good. Posterior tilt. Squeeze those glutes. Good. Anterior tilt. Make sure you control your breathing. One more time. Posterior tilt. Good. Anterior tilt. Good. And ease off. Excellent. So, just getting a little bit of movement in the pelvis from a half kneeling position, okay, which makes it a lot harder and brings a little bit more of a challenge. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to go to a half kneeling position. So I'm going to have my right leg forward here, okay? Now my back foot is Again, in that same position, I'm dorsiflexing the ankle, putting my big toe into the floor, and I want to make sure I keep that tension as I go through this, okay? Now, what I want to do from here is I'm going to have the stick across my chest here, okay? Now, what I want to do from this position is I'm first going to drive that back foot down into the floor, squeeze that left glute. That's going to extend my hip, open up that hip flexor a bit. Now I'm going to try to pull the stick apart, about 20% tension, and now I'm going to rotate to my right. Hold. Now I'm going to shorten the stick, so push in. I'm going to rotate back forward. Once I get to the center, pull the stick apart again. Now I'm going to rotate away from my front leg. Rotate towards my back leg. Still pulling the stick apart. Now I'm going to try to shorten that stick again, and I'm going to come back to center. Controlling that breathing. So let's do it again. Pull stick apart. Rotate towards that front leg. Still keeping that glute tight, driving that big toe into the floor. Try to shorten the stick. Good. Come back forward. Excellent. Pull the stick apart. Rotate towards that back leg. Try to keep that front knee in line with your mid-toe best you can. Push the stick in. Come back to neutral. And ease off. Good. Let's go ahead and switch sides here. So what we're focusing on is opening up the T-spine, right? Trying to get as much rotation as we can without compensation, right? So that's why I really want you to focus on extending that back hip by contracting that glute, okay? So we're gonna do that same thing. Arms out, okay? Back foot into the floor, drive that big toe into the floor, squeeze that right glute, pull the stick apart, rotate towards your front leg. Breathe. Good. Shorten that stick. Come back to center. Slow and under control. Once you get back to neutral, pull the stick apart. Rotate to your right or towards your back leg. Good. Shorten the stick. Come back to neutral. Good. Pull the stick apart. Rotate towards your front leg. Make sure that glute is still tight here. That's really important. Shorten the stick. Rotate back forward. Good. Pull the stick apart. Rotate towards that back leg. Remember, try to keep that front knee in line with the mid-toe. Shorten the stick and come back forward. Good. Ease off. Awesome. So now we're going to get into warming up the shoulders a little bit by actually getting in some kayaking here, okay? So I'm going to move the pad to the side. I'll stand here, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're first going to go through the segment of actually kayaking, but we're going to start to slowly add in a little bit of spinal movement, okay? So we're basically going to have the spine following the same movement pattern as the kayaking here, okay? So I'm going to grab the stick out as wide as I comfortably can. I'm going to take a horse stance. Toes are facing forward, okay? I'm going to squat down just a little bit. Remember, pelvis stacked under the spine here. I'm going to start with my left hand up. Now I'm going to drive that left hand through. Right shoulder comes up and over. We're really trying not to move the spine here. Spine stays still. Whatever movement you get should only be coming from the shoulder blades. Feel them glide along that rib cage here. Okay? Make sure you breathe. Keep it slow. Keep it controlled. Try to keep both arms straight to the best of your ability. Good. Keep going. Excellent. Good. Now what I'm going to do here is as I'm coming up and over, so the stick's coming down to my left, I'm going to now start to flex my spine over, then extend, stay up tall. Now as I'm coming to the right, flex my spine over, come up tall. Good. I want you to follow that pattern. We're getting much more full movement here. Again, we're incorporating the spine into mobilizing the shoulder blades. Breathe. Good. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. Excellent. So that concludes the warm-up. So we are going to get into 3 key drills here, okay? So one of the drills is going to be working on rotation, and it's also going to kind of be in a position as if you're slinging or you're swinging a sledgehammer in a horizontal plane, okay? So we're actually going to use a stick to generate that tension from this position. We're also going to get into a shoulder extension drill. We're also going to be pulling side to side here. The last one is going to be an overhead lat activation drill or scapular depression, okay? So we'll go through all those drills now. So first what we're going to do the overhead scapula retraction drill, or pulling the scapula down towards that hip, okay? So this is going to be kind of like as if you're in a pull-up position. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a stance, again, roughly about shoulder width apart, toes are forward, okay? Now with my hand, I'm actually going to have my hand, and I'm going to start with my left hand here. I'm going to have that hand roughly about nose to chin level here, okay? And so what I'm going to do from this position, see, notice that the bottom of the stick is actually angled in towards me, okay? So about roughly 8 inches from the line of my toes here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hinge back, okay, until I get to a position where my hand is in an overhead position here. I'm going to grab the stick with my right hand roughly about where the sticker is. Now what I'm first going to do is I'm first going to drive the stick into the ground with my left hand. So I'm going to drive the stick into the floor with about 50 to 60% tension. Hold. You're going to feel the serratus anterior activate here. Good. Hold. And 3, 2, 1. Good. Ease off that tension, and we're going to come up. Just to get out of the position, to give your arm a little bit of a break. So now we're going to add in pulling the scapula down towards the hip, okay? So I'm going to get back in that same position. So I'm going to hinge my hips back. Arm comes up to overhead position. Right hand is on the sticker. What I'm going to do now, same thing. I'm going to drive that stick into the ground 60%. But I'm going to now pull my shoulder blade down towards my hip, and my right hand stays extended. Hold. Breathe. And 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Good. Come back up. Take a second. Okay. So you should be feeling that lat engage, feeling some of those posterior tissues engage along with the lateral chain, right? So same thing. Hinge the hips back. Arm comes up into an overhead position. Right hand on a stick. Drive down with that left hand. Okay. Pull the shoulder blade down towards your hips. And again, we're not trying to bend the elbow. The elbow tries to stay as straight as possible, so only the movement is coming from the shoulder blade. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Good. Ease off. Come back up. Awesome. Let's get 2 more repetitions in here. Same thing. Arm straight. Hinge back. Okay. Right hand on the sticker. Drive that stick down. Let's go 80%. Pull that shoulder blade down towards the hip. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Come back up. Excellent. Let's go one last time here. This time I'm actually going to have you attempt to pull that stick down towards your hip, okay? but that right hand is going to resist. So I'm going to hinge back, right hand on the sticker, drive the stick down 80%. Okay. Pull the shoulder blade down towards the hip, and now I'm going to bend that elbow a bit, create a bow on the stick, hold, 3, 2, 1, ease off, and come out. Excellent. Let's go ahead and switch sides here. We're going to go through those same progressions. Okay. Stick's about 8 inches away from the front of the line of the toes. Okay. Hands at the same height. I'm going to hinge back, place the left hand on the stick where the sticker is. First thing, drive that stick down 60%, push. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Good. Going to come back up, ease off. Good. Okay, let's go through the 4 repetitions of activation now. Hinge back, left hand on the sticker. Same thing. Drive the stick down 60%, pull the shoulder blade down towards the hip. 3, 2, 1, ease off. Good. Stand back up. Excellent. 3 more. Hinge back. Left hand on the stick. Drive the stick down. Pull that shoulder blade down towards the hip. Three, 2, 1, ease off. Good. Come back up. Excellent. Let's go 2 more. 80% this time. Arm straight. Hinge back. Good. Drive that stick down and pull that shoulder blade down. Make sure you're gripping that stick. Hold. 3, 2, 1, ease off. Come back up. Excellent. One last time here. Okay. Arm straight. Hinge. Place our left hand on the stick. Drive stick down 80% with the right hand. Pull the shoulder blade down and pull. Try to get that elbow to the right hip. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Come back up. And relax. Take a second. Good. So that's a way to kind of prep overhead position, especially if you're going to do pull-ups. That's a good way to kind of work on getting that connection better here, okay? So what we're going to do here, we're going to get into that rotational drill, okay? So I'm going to stand. So this is going to be the door frame, okay? And I'm going to stand relatively far away from it. So what I'm looking for here is the distance that you have is going to vary based on with the length of the stick, also too how much tension you have to generate. I don't want to create too much of a bow, okay? So I'm going to actually go in a little bit more. Now my left hand is gripping on the end of the stick with an overhand grip. Right hand is facing up towards the ceiling. So I'm in a mixed grip position here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to have my left leg forward, my right foot back a bit, okay? And I'm going to actually have my right heel up, okay? So I'm on the ball and toes of my right foot here. Now the stick, the height of the stick is at about basically 90-degree elbow flexion here, okay? So the stick is angled. Now what I'm going to do from here, keeping my elbows in tight, I'm going to push into that stick, rotate my right hip forward, squeezing that glute, pulling with the left arm and pushing with the right. 50% tension. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to ease off and relax. So that right hip is rotating inwards, or my hips are rotating towards my front hip. I'm squeezing that glute to get that hip extension, right? So let's increase that tension. Okay, get in that same position. Back foot is up on the ball and toes of the foot. I'm going to squeeze the glute, rotate. 70% tension, pulling with that outside arm. Hold. 3, 2, 1, ease off. Good. Let's do 2 more repetitions, okay? So, same thing, squeeze that right glute, rotate those hips to the left, push with the right, pull with the left arm. Hold, you should be feeling that glute firing here. 3, 2, 1, ease off. Excellent, let's go one more time here, okay? So we're working on the obliques. We're getting the sagittal plane strength here, okay? We're going to a bit of activation. So, same thing, okay? Squeeze that right glute, rotate those hips to the left, push, pull with the arms. 3, 2, 1, ease off and relax. Good. Now we're going to switch sides. So I'll go from this position here. Okay. So same thing again, just so you can get a side profile here. So feet are staggered. Okay. Arms are at 90. So again, the stick is angled, right? So left foot, I'm on the ball and toes of my left foot here. Same thing, I'm gonna sink down a bit. I'm gonna squeeze that left glute, rotate the hips to the right. I'm gonna push with the left, pull with the right hand. Good, only 60%. 3, 2, 1, ease off. Good. Okay, so now we're gonna go up to 70%. All right. Same thing, elbows in, okay. Drop down, I'm gonna squeeze that left glute, rotate my hips to the right and pull with the right arm, push with the left. Hold, make sure you breathe. 3, 2, 1, ease off. Good. Let's get 2 more here, okay? Arms at 90, okay? Sink the hips down, same thing. Rotate those hips to the right, squeeze that left glute, push into the wall. 3, 2, 1, ease off. Good, last one here, okay? Okay, sink down, same thing. Squeeze that left glute, rotate to the right, and push. 3, 2, 1, ease off, and relax. Good. So, it's a way to work on, again, some of that rotation, okay? And so, now I'm actually going to get into the squat rack here, and I'm going to use it as a way to kind of gauge my shoulder extension. So you can use a door frame, or you can just simply do a freestanding without it, okay? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get inside the squat rack. I'm going to take a horse stance. Now the stick is, I have arms straight, and the stick is actually pressed up against my hamstrings here, okay? So grip-wise, I'm gripping roughly about shoulder width, okay? And what I'm going to do, I just want to go forward until the stick makes contact with the squat rack, or keep it back against your hamstrings. So I'm going to drop down to that horse stance just a little bit, squeeze my glutes and tighten my core, okay? Keep the rib cage down. So now, from here, I'm going to pull the stick apart, 40% tension. And then I'm going to extend the stick away from my body going behind me, working on that shoulder extension, still pulling apart 40%. 3, 2, 1. Ease off, bring it back. Excellent. Good. We're going to do 3 more reps. However, we're going to start to move side to side, so the grip's going to change after this second rep. So 60%, okay? Glutes tight, core tight. Pull the stick apart, 60%. Pull the stick away. Keep those elbows straight. You're going to feel those lats engage. In 3, 2, 1, ease off and relax. So now the grip is going to come out wider here, okay? So I'm going to grip out wider than shoulder width here, okay? And so now I'm going to go through those same progressions, the same list of checks. So squeeze the glutes, ribs down, core engage, pull the stick apart. I'm going to pull the stick away from my body. Should be about 50% tension here. Now I'm going to pull more with my right hand, pull my left hand towards my center line. I'm going to hold. Now I'm going to pull more with my left to pull my right hand towards my center line. Hold. 3, 2, 1, back to center. Good. Bring it back forward and ease off. Good. One last time here, okay? So, back in that horse stance, squeeze the glutes, core tight, pull the stick apart. 60%, pull the stick back. Arm straight, pull to the right. You're going to feel much more lat engagement here. Pull to the left, so pull more with that left arm. Good. Back to center. Bring it back in and ease off. Excellent. Good. So that was some of the strength training part. So now what we're going to do here, we're going to get into some stretching. So we're going to work on a standing bow and arrow variation. We're going to kind of get into that QL a bit, just based on how we're going to have the hips rotated. So what I'm going to do here, I'm first going to start with my feet at roughly about hip width. Toes are facing forward, okay? So this is going to be quite a bit different. I'm going to have the stick in line with my mid toe on my left foot here, okay? Now typically we go with the hands down or thumbs down position. We're actually going to go with a thumbs up position. So I'm going to grab the top of the stick here, okay? Now I'm going to do, my hand is going to be placed roughly about where my hips are, okay? So my hips are about here. Hand's going to be placed there. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start to drive my hips away from the stick. So I'm actually pushing the stick out diagonally, okay? And I'm going to drive my hips in the opposite way, tucking my pelvis. So from here, I'm going to push the stick out, I'm going to tuck my pelvis, and I'm going to drive my hips away from the stick in this thumbs up position. You're going to feel a stretch in the lateral line, but you're also going to get a little bit of that QL here. Good. 3, 2, 1. You're going to ease off and come back up. Okay? We're going to progress that a little further now. So now I'm going to go with my feet right behind one another. Okay? So now the bottom of the stick is going to be in line with the toes of my front foot. So my left foot's in front, right foot's in back. Okay? So from here, it's going to be the same thing. Grab the stick up top, thumb facing up towards the ceiling. Okay? Still pushing out diagonally. So I'm going to drive my hips away from the stick as I push it out diagonally away from my body and try to keep that pelvic tilt, that posterior pelvic tilt here. Good. Breathe. We're going to get a real big stretch in that low back here. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to bring it back in. Ease off. Good. Let's go progress it a little further. One last time. Now I'm going to cross my feet. Okay. Like so. So now my right foot So on the outside of my left foot, okay, the stick, again, is going to be in line with my toes on my front foot, my left foot here. Same thing, grab the stick up top, thumb facing up towards the ceiling, still driving that stick diagonally, okay? So I'm going to drive my hips away, extend both hands out. Good, we're going to feel stretching that hip and that QL, that low back. Good. 3, 2, 1, back in slow. Excellent. Let's go ahead and switch sides here, okay? So I go through those same progressions, okay? Still, bottom of the stick is in line with the mid toe, a few inches in front. Left hand is up top, okay? Thumb facing up towards the ceiling. Same thing, drive those hips away, push that stick out, again, diagonally. Now, one side of your QL is probably going to be tighter than the other. Just kind of let you know what needs to be stretched, right? Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Back in. Excellent. Good. Same thing. Right foot comes forward. Left foot comes back. Okay. Again, stick is in line with the toes of the right foot here. Left hand up top. Thumb facing up towards the ceiling. And drive those hips away from the stick as you drive the stick out diagonally. Only go as far as you can facilitate a stretch, and make sure that stretch is not too intense. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Gonna come back up slowly. Excellent. Now we're gonna progress it one last time. Okay. Right foot. The left foot's behind and on the outside of that right foot here. Okay. Stick is in line with the right toes. Thumb facing up towards the ceiling. Outside the foot, same thing. Drive those hips away from the stick and extend those hands out diagonally. And 3, 2, 1. Good. Ease off and relax. Excellent. So now I'm going to focus on opening up that T-spine here, okay? So I'm going to grab my 2 sticks, okay? And I'm going to go with the stance roughly about shoulder width. So we're in that extended position earlier with the overhead scapula drill, right? So we're going to get back to that same position. Now we're just going to do it with 2 sticks, really try to open up that T-spine here, okay? So we're going to manipulate the lumbar area as we go through this. So I'll actually turn from the side so you can get a better view. So feet are roughly about hip width apart, toes are facing forward, stick is in line with the mid toes, roughly about 4 to 6 inches in front of the line of my toes. Hands are at shoulder height. I'm going to drive my hips back, extend my hands out forward, go out as far as I can. Okay. Going to get a little bit of a stretch in that T-spine here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start to work the lumbar spine. So I'm going to tuck my pelvis in. So you're going to notice my lower back is rounding. Breathe. Now I'm going to extend or do an anterior tilt on my lumbar, tightening my lower back tissues here. Good. Do a posterior tilt again. Anterior tilt. Really take advantage of that full extension. Remember to breathe. Do a posterior tilt. Good. Stretching that low back. T-spine. Anterior tilt. Excellent. Good. Come back up. And ease off. Good. Excellent. So now what we're going to get into stretching out the adductors and the hamstrings. So What I'm going to do here, don't need the pads, I'm going to move that over. We're going to take a really, really wide stance, okay? Or as wide as you can comfortably go. I'm going to bring my feet out pretty wide here, okay? Bottoms of the sticks are angled out pretty far in front of me here, okay? I want to have my hands on top of the sticks, okay? Toes can be pointed outwards a bit, right? Not too much. If you can, try to have them pointed forward to the best of your ability here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive my hips back, slide my hands down the sticks. I'm going to sit my hips back here. Focus on your deep breathing. Good. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Slowly come up. Good. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. Okay, we're going to hold that position. We're going to slowly rock in and out here, okay? So, drive those hips back. Reach down towards the bottoms of the stick. Try to keep your back as straight as you can. Good, now I'm going to rock back and forth. So I'm going to rock up or bring my hips up and forward. Now I'm going to sit my hips back as far as I can. Good, bring my hips forward. Sit my hips back. Hips forward. Then back. Good, forward. Back. Let's go one last time. Forward and back. Slowly come up. Wiggle your feet in. Good. Excellent. And that concludes today's specific mobility class. Thank you for joining me for today's class. Hope everybody had a good class. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good day.